Hi, my name is Christina Lynn. My business is Lynn Financial, and I love helping average people like me become above average with their money because I believe that financial savviness is a learned skill that you can master. So I'm divorced, and I know a lot about divorce because I went through like the ugliest one possible. And I've incorporated a lot of the techniques that I've learned since then because I became obsessed with studying about it. And I'm now a divorce financial analyst, so I incorporate that into my work that I do. So I know a lot about the financial side of it and the emotional side of it because I went through it. And what I want to talk to you today is about the financial disparity that a blended family has. So for me, it was that my ex-spouse had a lot more money than I had. And so I call him the Disneyland dad because he takes literally the kids to Disneyland, I feel like, every year and does really, really fun things with them and gives them really nice gifts. And I'm more like taking them to grandma and grandpa's house and buying them a Lego set for their birthday versus Disneyland and a motorcycle. So I'm always looking kind of like the schmuck, the cheap schmuck, when it comes to giving our kids things and sharing experiences with them. But your situation may not look like that. Maybe you cannot get your spouse to pay for anything. You feel like your spouse just a deadbeat and doesn't help with your kids at all. And that is more frustrating. I totally give you that. But that's what I want to talk to you today about is just that financial disparity and how I cope with it. So prior to getting married, I was really pretty mobile. Like I moved around a lot, I traveled a lot. I traveled really on a budget and had a lot of fun, had lots of adventures. And I wanted to continue doing that with my kids. And as you probably know, divorce really changes things financially for you. So after we got divorced, I dealing with the financial lack that I had, which has gotten better by the way, but I decided that I would just choose to have a different approach than the Disneyland dad approach. So we do really fun adventure things that don't cost as much money. Like we do Spartan races together, and it's about $100, $150 per person to participate in that, but you can tent and you create the most fun memories ever. I'm trying to do camping trips with the kids, which is those are things that your kids will never forget. Yes, they won't ever forget Disneyland, but they also have a really special place in their heart for the more roughing it adventure type trips that you're just spending a lot of time together, having adventures together, and lots of laughter. So that's the approach that I've taken, and I think that that's been a success. My son just randomly told me the other day that the funnest time that he's ever had with me was on one of the adventure trips. Or not with me, but like the funnest time he's ever had was on the last adventure trip that we took together. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. So I do think that it works. And so I don't feel as guilty about not being able to shower my kids with the same types of gifts and experiences that their dad does. And I want their dad to continue doing that. And you should want that too because it's about your kids, not about you. It's not about me. So um, I cannot get jealous about what their father um, is able to provide for them because we all want what's in the end going to benefit your kids the most in giving them life experiences and showing them the world and things like that. So I just want to encourage you to have a different frame of mind for that disparity if you're feeling like your spouse is financially a lot more well off than you. The other thing that I want to bring up is for the people who have the opposite of the Disneyland dad experience and that they're feeling like their spouse is not helping with anything financially. So, one of the things that I have found with people who struggle with an issue like that is that there might be more than meets the eye to why the your spouse is not helping you. They maybe are just broke and are spending all their money on drugs and alcohol and, living in their mother's basement. So they might just not have any money at all to help, period. But if they do have money and are just like refusing to help with, like, your kids' braces or their taekwondo equipment or something like that, it could be more of a power struggle. So if look at how you're phrasing your questions or like your demands or your requests to your spouse. If you're more like saying, hey, this upcoming trip for soccer is going to cost $800. You need to split it with me, or I paid the last one, so you have to pony up for this one. If you're saying it in a more of demanding, authoritative way, that even though maybe you do have the right to say it like that because you're justified in it, that's not helping you, nor your child, get to like a goal that, um, is good for everyone involved. So try phrasing it different. Say, I have a couple of ways, written down that I'm going to just read off because it's easier just giving examples than trying to explain it. So, um, so instead of saying, hey, our son wants to be in Boy Scouts next year, so it's going to be Monday nights. Can you please show up or pay for the $50 membership fee? Um, you could say it like this: hey, what are your thoughts about enrolling our son in Boy Scouts next year? I mean, yes, that doesn't get you to the final goal, but that's a conversation starter. That's a much warmer approach than a demand. Like, you've already made this decision, and you're expecting your spouse to just like follow through, with what you're telling him, like a command. That this just doesn't work well. Try framing it in more of like, hey, let's work on this together. What do you think? We're a team. Um, how about this one? Would this tournament schedule work for you if I signed up our daughter for soccer club this summer? And then you can send the schedule. And then when they come back with something snarky or something, maybe a counter, proposal, you can work on it from there. Here's another example. The initial cost, is $100 for our son to start piano lessons this year, in music school. We would have to drive him to lessons each week, and each lesson costs $40. And we'd also have to pay for sheet music and a keyboard. Has our son ever talked to you about his interest in playing piano? What do you think about splitting the costs? What would be your availability to help with driving, to and from school to piano lessons, things like that? What do you like? Take some time to think about this and get back to me. This is another example. I took dance lessons when I was a kid, and I really want our daughter to be trained in ballet like I was. Um, if we agree to split the lesson costs down the middle and I'll cover the costume costs, would you mind thinking about this and getting back to me next Friday? Um, so these are just examples of having open communication with your spouse, because I have a feeling that if they have the money but they're refusing to be helpful, it's probably just a passive aggressive response, um, it, to you, because they're feeling like they're not in control of what's going on, or that you're not being respectful by running it past them first. So try that. I hope it works. This whole blended family divorce life thing is really complicated, but it's always worth your best effort and trying again, because in the end, it's going to benefit your kids. And we love our kids so much, and we want them to have a mom and a dad that work and co-parent, and collaborate for the benefit of their precious little life. So good luck. I hope that you succeed with this open communication style, and that if you have a Disneyland dad, you just learn to embrace him. And if you have a control freak spouse that you're working with, that you figure out a way to communicate openly with them. But good luck and keep your chin up because you are an overcomer.